And welcome back to Inside the Valley on this Sunday morning. Well, the folks from the Texas Workforce Solutions Vocational Rehabilitation Services are here to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that they offer. On the show today, we have Larissa Luna. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so before I try saying that again, real quickly, just tell me a little bit about what it is that you guys do and what it is that your agency does.
Sure, yes. So what we do is assist individuals with disabilities obtain or maintain, even advance in employment.
Okay.
And so what that really means is that we focus on the individual's disabilities, focus on their disability needs as well as their vocational needs.
Okay, when we're talking about disabilities, what kind of disabilities are we talking about?
Various disabilities. So it could be a physical disability, it could be a mental disability, it could be cognitive, a learning disability, as well as visual impairments or totally blindness.
Okay, so you're able to help out both the employer and the employee, is that correct?
Correct, right. So this may not only be somebody that's seeking employment that has a disability, but also an employer that has an employee that either acquired disability or has had a long history of disability, but they're having trouble keep their job because they're needing maybe those services, part of the disability to keep the job. So that's in a sense where we work with the employer.
Okay, so if say if I was an employee, I had maybe a disability with one of my arms, but I needed both arms to do something. Are you able to kind of refer me into a different department within that company, or how would that kind of work?
Right. So with the company that we're speaking with, or the agency, Vocational Rehab Services is that. So that would be directly through our program.
Okay. And then for the employer, how would they maybe go about if they had an employee who they know had a disability, but that employee didn't come to them? Would the employee then have the obligations to come to you and say, hey, I've got this great employee, he's got a disability, she has a disability, I want to keep them, how do I go about doing that?
Absolutely. So they could contact us in that way. We do have a business relations team that will go out there and speak with if the employee has already disclosed that they have a disability. Sure, we can have a meeting in that sense, and we would definitely direct them to apply for services because they may qualify and be able to assist them in that way, and the employer keeps their valued employee.
Absolutely. Now, if I was an employee and I knew that I had a disability, but I was afraid to go to my employer, I would probably go to you first, and then you would approach the employer and then kind of work it out so that I would still have my job, or at least in a maybe a lesser scale, but I'd still have my position.
Yeah, absolutely. So if the employee is coming to us first and not sure whether to disclose to their employer that they have a disability, that's okay. We'll still be able to provide those services. But we can also speak with that employer and educate that employer that it's okay that they have a disability. There are resources. Most of the time, accommodations don't even cost that much.
Right.
So we have experts that provide that consultation. Most of our staff, even counselors, have a master's degree in rehabilitation counseling. So they have expertise, knowledge on a certain disability and what that looks like in the workplace.
Oh, wow. Now, do you help out just a certain a group of businesses or companies, or is it like a varied, any kind really?
Any kind, any major employer, small business.
Right.
Yes.
Now, you were mentioning about your services and that you're able to help either the employer or the employee. Can you talk about some of those services? I know that you're saying, like keeping the employee with that employer, but what are some of the other services?
So if someone didn't have a job and is seeking employment and they have a disability, definitely those are probably 80% of our job seekers looking for employment. So we provide an array of services, just depending on the disability, again, because we focus on the disability needs and also the vocational needs.
Right.
So if the disability needs are met already and they're ready to go to work, that's the service that we want to provide also. But those services around that scope towards employment may be vocational training, could be physical therapy, could be physical restoration, could be rehabilitation devices, so such as wheelchairs, they need to move around. Also, if they have a hearing loss, maybe hearing aids, and other maybe assistive technology. So someone that is totally blind or has a visual impairment and they need some kind of software such as JAWS, Zoom text, those are kind of those devices or software that's used for someone in the workplace who's blind or has a visual impairment.
Sure, absolutely. So someone who has a disability, they're looking for a job right now, probably the best thing to do would be come to the vocational rehabilitation spot.
Absolutely, yes.
And then how does the application process kind of work?
So they'll come in, get an application going. They will speak with a counselor. Again, the counselor does have a master's degree. They are certified. So they are speaking with an expert
Okay.
in that area.
And then how long does it normally take? I mean, for someone to get placed in a job, and is it, just for a few months, or is it, full-time permanent?
No, I mean, so this is a full-time employment. That's our goal. About the time frame, and it really just depends. Is that person, what are the services that we're providing? Is it going to take a few months? Is it therapy we're talking about? Is it physical restoration?
Right.
Did they recently lose their vision? Because we have to provide those services first before we look for employment to make sure that we're sending that employer a qualified candidate.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone who's going to be able to
Right,
be reliable and depended on to make sure that that job gets done. Now, I know a lot of folks, some elderly folks here in the Valley, they've often approached me before and, said, I've got a disability, but I'm, in my 60s. I don't think anybody's going to take me on. That's not the case.
No, you could be 65, 70. You want to work? We're gonna assist you.
Absolutely, and you're not going to put them into something that they are, underqualified for. You want to make sure that the employer is going to fit the employee's needs, and vice versa as well, so that it's a good collaboration.
Right.
Now, can there be? Is there part-time as well, or is it just full-time?
No, and it's based on the individual. So if they're
Okay.
just looking for part-time employment, we will assist that. It's their vocational goal. Our staff, our counselors are just guiding them towards that.
Okay, and your office is open Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 typically. And there's several offices here in the Valley. There's office in Brownsville, McAllen, Harlingen, Westlaco. Just depending on the area where they live, they can call that 800 number and they'll direct them to the closest, nearest office.
Fantastic. And do you have a website where people can go, maybe get a little bit more information as well?
Yes, the TWC website, twc.state.tx.us.
Yeah.
And they can go through there under the Vocational Rehab Services and click on that, and it'll provide how to get in contact with us.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like you guys are providing a lot of great services for folks here in the Valley, with disabilities who are looking for work, looking for employment, whether that's full-time or part-time. Give these folks a call here, twc.state.tx.us, or call this 1-800 number. It's toll-free, 1-800-628-5115. Larissa, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Alan. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. And folks, don't go anywhere. When we come back on Inside the Valley on this Sunday morning, well, can you smell it? Not yet, but you can sure taste it, I'm sure, from last year. It's that time of year again, Girl Scout cookie time. We're going to be talking to the folks from the Girl Scouts about sales, also about what it is with the Girl Scouts and what they do when they're selling these cookies, and how they're helping folks in the community. Don't go anywhere.